I'm insulting every faction, starting with the loyalist first found in chapters in a 40k series I like to call
I'm insulting your army till you remember it's funny. 40k is satire.
Yes, I know, my voice brings all the Dark Angels to the yard. Speaking of which, let's start with the first, because God knows they don't let us forget their first. The Dark Angels, or as I like to call them, the low-hanging fruit. Yes, we've all seen the memes. They're traitors. Ha ha. Very funny. Except these medieval knights cosplayers bloody well are. No, not for Luther's Rebellion. That's ancient history at this point, and I'll be doing 30k Legions another time. And not for the Lion being tardy to terror. I'll be doing Primarchs too. No, the Dark Angels really are utter bloody traitors because they will destroy any part of the Imperium just for getting a whiff of an apron of a barmaid who once knew a dog that was taken for a walk by the brother of someone who went to school with someone with the nickname Fallen Frank. Think I'm exaggerating? Let's ask the walking war crime that is Interrogator Chaplain Asmodai. Asmodai, it's been suggested that you get overzealous when chasing the Fallen. How do you defend yourself?
I'd kill 50,000 loyalists if it meant capturing one traitor.
That's hypothetical, right?
Well, it would have to be a different 50,000. The last lot are already dead. How did you know of the Fallen?
Let's end this interview right here. A quick note to say that this script contains spoilers for books in the Legends of the Dark Angels omnibus. It also hints at some other books, but doesn't spoil them. Ah, I hear you all cry. That interview is just one example. Okay, weird voices that can't tell I was voicing both parts. How about the time that the Dark Angels were working with the Silver Eagles Space Marine chapter in a campaign versus the Orcs, when Asmodai got a whiff of that barmaid's apron again and took the entire Dark Angels force hunting down a supposed powerful warrior. This sudden relocation of the Grumpy Eagles left the Silver Eagles' left flank exposed, and quickly became surrounded by the walking toadstools that are the Orcs. They lost half their Marines to the green football hooligans. To top it all off, that warrior turned out to be an Inquisitor, not one of the Fallen. But, you half-witted voices moan, that's just Asmodai. He's a lunatic. Not all Dark Angels are like him. No? How about the Inner Circle, meaning those that know of the Fallen? More on that later. Such as the Dark Angel's apothecary Nestor. Nestor was willing to let an entire planet die from a virus, just so he could dress up in his bedsheets and chase some Fallen and Gene Seed. An entire bloody planet. And one that the Dark Angels had pledged to defend. Or when Azrael killed the Imperial Lord Commander Thaddeus Absalom, commanding officer of over 100,000 guardsmen, and who had just saved the Chief Curtain Wearer's life. After offing Thaddeus, Azrael then ordered the killing of an entire squadron of Imperial Guard, who they had been serving with, who had proven to be loyal and of good quality, and he killed them not just for being there to see a member of the Fallen, but because Azrael put them in a position to see a member of the Fallen. He, in essence, told them a secret and then killed them for knowing that secret. You know, the cliched line from spy movies, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you, taken both literally and without option, to guard high command. Or The Angels of Retribution, one of the Unforgiven chapters. The Unforgiven are successor chapters that work so closely with the unlit biblically inaccurates that they may as well still be Dark Angels. Indeed, the Inquisition suspects that they're essentially still working as a legion rather than individual chapters. They even still share the same tailor. These supposed embodiments of the Emperor's wrath are utterly notorious for abandoning their allies mid-battle all the time, to the point that other Imperial factions will turn down help from them, because they know it's better to not have an ally than one who decides that this area doesn't really need protecting right now and that they've got better places to be. Or when the Dark Angels were helping the Imperial defenders on Vigilus, when, mid-battle, the Raven Wing attacked the White Scars and then swan off chasing, well, you get the idea. Now I think about it, maybe the reason they wear robes is so they can flounce off quite so spectacularly. You just can't get a dramatic swish with power armour. Honestly, how is it the Alpha Legion gets the I don't know which side I'm on meme? Even when the Beach Towel brothers aren't buggering off mid-battle, you can hardly rely on them. They turn up, don't tell you what they're doing, complete their own objectives, and then sod off again. Utterly bloody dangerous in war. But they don't share any of that tactical genius with people who could actually use some help. It's a Spartan myth all over again. Not that they have much tactical genius to spare, so I suppose the Imperium should be grateful that these tactically illiterate bathrobe botherers Don't play nicely with others. All right, these strange voices in my head ask, so the nocturnal seraphim are useless allies who leave others to die? They'll kill loyalists by the tens of thousands, just because they can't be bothered to do their job and hunt out traitors, but surely they're still a useful weapon for the Emperor. Oh, by the Emperor's shriveled sack, no. Oh, they tell us of their tactical genius in service to the Emperor all the time, but dear holy saints are they not? Not genius, and not serving the Emperor. Or his shriveled sack, come to that. Azrael, in his first battle as Grandmaster, needed the Elder to bail him out, despite having literally put the entire chapter in the field. Losing to the Night Lords, of all people, because he didn't foresee them using portals. The same portal that he managed to get his hoodie out of his eyes long enough to see them use a few days beforehand. Tactical genius my arse. To be fair, I've never tried asking my arse for tactics, but it couldn't do any worse. Their secrets constantly let them down. They hide secrets of the Fallen, who are dark angels that attacked their own legion 10,000 years ago, from their own marines, until they get enough trust that they're let into the inner circle, essentially the command structure and the first company. The problem with that? The gloomy cherubs judge worth not by how good they are at killing the Emperor's enemies, but by whether they'd be bloodthirsty enough at keeping their secrets. So they don't promote the best tacticians, just the best liars. The perfect people to spread the lie about their tactical genius. This leads to situations such as the literal chapter master of the Dark Angels, Lord of the Unforgiven, and all-round idiot, deciding to nearly single-handedly attack a fortress of Dark Mechanicum heretics and Night Lord Chaos Marines, just so that the regular Marines don't see the Fallen. The book literally mentions that Nabarius, the previous chapter master, died because he was, and I quote, hobbled by the suspicion that the Fallen were involved. It ends predictably. His own side killed him. Such is the price of idiocy. Tactical genius. And that secretive nature means that when, using the stop clock principle, these liars accidentally fall over and faceplant into a good idea, they can come undone by the secrets anyway. Because even being in the inner circle doesn't get you all the information. Remember Nestor, that marine that would sacrifice a planet? Well, that came about because a brother chaplain took off chasing Fallen members, bringing all 5 other marines stationed on the planet with him. After a series of traps that he walks into, showing his tactical genius, it becomes obvious that the Fallen had lured him away from the planet. What he didn't know was that the Dark Angel gene seed was hidden at his base. Only the apothecary knew that, and that a virus capable of wiping out the planet was also kept there. Only the tech marine knew that. If he had all that information, he could have worked out what the Fallen were doing and saved the lives of the Marines. But no, Dark Angel's got a secret. If it wasn't for him, the whole planet would have died too. He turned traitor to his chapter to save it. Let that sink in. In order to save an Imperial planet his chapter had pledged to protect, he has to become a traitor to the Dark Angels. Even within the Inner Circle, you learn more of the supposed truth at each step. The Inner Circle is just the start, just as in ancient mystery cults of old, or, in more modern times, bizarre groups such as Scientology, the Masons, or that awful weird cult Chloe from Smallville was in. Just without the adult stuff. Probably. To be honest, I don't know about that last bit, but I don't want to know what sort of thing Asmodai is into. I doubt he has a safe word. Okay, asked the definitely not heretical voices in my head. So if they're not loyal, they're not good at tactics, and will kill entire planets because of secrets, they must be good at hunting the Fallen. Well, no. The summer dress wearer's greatest ever interrogator managed to get 10 Fallen to confess their sins. 10. Well done. A tactical squad of Marines. They wouldn't even manage to put a football team together out of the Fallen he got to confess. Master hunters and torturers they are not. Hell, they're so bad at this that the leader of the Fallen, Cypher, has been caught 7 times. Each time he just has a chat with the Grandmaster Robewrinkler, and rather than getting him to confess, they just let him go. Presumably he's just there to wash his nightie. Okay, the voices only I seem to hear ask, but that's just confessing. They must be good at keeping things locked up until they confess. Their home is a giant spaceship called The Rock, a huge monastery, and part of their own blown-up homeworld that they turned into a spaceship, which, admittedly, sounds awesome. You'd think, then, that a giant monastery with deep dungeons that floats in the void would be great at hiding things away so they can't escape. You'd think wrong. Their arch-nemesis, the man who caused the Fallen and who is at least partly responsible for their awful taste in nightwear, was Luther. They had him locked up. He got out. They let the changeling of Tzeentch onto the rock, without noticing, and then let it trick them into attacking the Space Wolves, not that they needed much encouragement, and then let it bugger off again. Cypher, basically, seems to have an all-access pass to their laundry room. So no, not great at locking things up. How about loyalty to the Emperor? Asked the voices that seem to also be offering me things in return for my soul. So probably Mark Zuckerberg. Sure, the light-phobic onesie wearers may not care about the Imperium, but the Imperium is a mess anyway. They must be faithful to the Emperor's vision. That vision of humanity's primacy and a 10,000-year-old Imperium-wide policy of killing the warp creatures and the aliens. Sorry, demons and Xenos, you mean. Let me introduce you to the Watchers in the Dark. Absurdly cute little cloaks hiding, well, we don't know, and I feel you'd be put on a list if you asked. We do know that they are massively powerful psychers and probably warp entities. They seem to protect the Dark Angels commanders, wander around the rock at will, and influence the Dark Angels as they see fit. Oh, and it is their test that the Chapter Masters have to pass to be Grand Pillowcase-wearing Chapter Master. It's hinted that if they don't like the leader they're testing, then that's the would-be Chapter Master's last time donning the tablecloth. Let's not forget about the heretical deal that the shade-obsessed caftan-wearing Marines struck with a Tau for the Tau to destroy some Marines from a successor chapter, after a psychic plague. Why do the deal when they could have killed everyone themselves really easily? Because they didn't want suspicion on them. That's right. They did deals with Xenos in order to hide things from the Imperium. Personally, if I were trying to be unnoticed, I would suggest not hiding under the worst ghost costumes in the world, but I'm no expert. Or when Azrael risked the lives of himself and his men by doing a deal with the Eldar to save his skin after he botched the battle with the Night Lords and would have, essentially, wiped the Dark Angels chapter from the galaxy. He even rushed back, after doing the Eldar's bidding, so that he could stop the Archangels of Dullness from killing the Eldar, because he needed his chapter at full strength to hunt the Fallen. Hardly cleansing the Xenos, is it? Or let's ask Interrogator Chaplain Boreas, the man who saved that planet from the Dark Angels. Interrogator Chaplain Boreas, what matters more, the Dark Angels' secrets or serving the Emperor?
This is the true purpose of the Dark Angels. This is the real mission of the chapter. Whilst the Fallen still lives unrepentant of his sins, we can gain no true honour. We cannot truly serve the Emperor as his greatest warriors. All else we do is ultimately in vain, but the hunt, the quest, these are what give us meaning.
Yes, I'm getting that. So not the Emperor's vision for humanity then. But surely these bloody voices that only seem to shut up when I drink copious amount of Jack Daniels cry, they must be good at flying under the radar. What, Asmodai blowing up cities, decimating chapters and pissing off Inquisitors not enough for you? How about their chief kimono model, Azrael? He basically has two jobs. 1, apologising for Asmodai. 2, not pissing off the Inquisition. You'd think, for a tactical genius, he'd get rid of Asmodai to help them fly under the radar. But no. The closest was when he booted Asmodai to be in charge of the scout detachment, where he promptly ordered the execution of a bunch of neophytes for being a little slow in answering his questions. Ironic, given his Primarch's ability to take his time, whether getting to terror or waking up. As for Azrael not pissing off the Inquisition, well, when working alongside the Grey Knights, you know, those designed for fighting chaos, the Master, Donner of the Cloth, spent the whole time trying to antagonise Caldor Drago, the biggest Mary Sue and chief taint smiter of the Grey Knights. It worked. They came to blows. Yeah, flying under the radar, not their strong suit either. Well, asked the voice that certainly aren't in any way coming from a malicious warp entity, what about avoiding corruption? Surely, with their background, they'll be hyper-vigilant. Meet Ezekiel, chief librarian of the Dark Angels, and the guy who gets to decide if someone is willing to screw over their own team enough to be let into the inner circle. He was found on a chaos-controlled world as an Omega-level psychic kid, who essentially said, "Ah, Mr. Bond, I've been expecting you." Technically, he was chained up, but with his powers he admits he could have gotten out of those chains any time he wanted, but he knew he was going to be found by the Dark Angels, and wanted to appear as a vulnerable prisoner for them to rescue. When he gets tested for purity, the guy testing him takes one look into his mind, instantly does his best impression of the Emperor, which is to say he goes into a panic-induced vegetable state, and, when he recovers, says simply that there's no more testing to be done. Just give him the spare towels now. Not at all suspicious. In the Azrael book, Ezekiel literally spells out to Azrael that he could puppet him any time he wants to, and then goes on to puppet him into running away from a demon prince. Yeah, that's a trustworthy chap with no hint of chaos right there. Oh, and if a Dark Angel's brother doesn't fit the type of person that the head of the X-Men, librarians, wants, essentially you're not enough of a traitor to the Imperium, willing to sell them out to defeat a single member of the Fallen, then he'll mind wipe you at best, or just melt your brains at worst. On the plus side, the Dark Angels certainly have enough cloths to wipe up all those melted brains. Maybe that's why they wear them. I think by now you get the idea. The Dark Angels are a bunch of wannabe medieval knights who are traitors to the Imperium, humanity, and the Emperor. Their tactical genius is a myth, they suck at missions they set themselves, and the only thing they seem actually good at is keeping secrets from each other, which often gets them killed. Honestly, at this point, I'm beginning to suspect that the Fallen were the true loyal Dark Angels. The Dark Angels do claim to be the first and greatest, but, as any man knows, finishing first is a great way to get your partners mad at you. Thanks for watching. There's a like button and a subscribe button. I'm told that they do something. So would you mind investigating that? And if you've made it this far, then you obviously get my sense of humour and will probably want to watch the next one, which, according to the list, is actually number 5. Welcome to 40k Maths. Video number 2 then will be Too Fast, Too Furious, The White Scars.